In Ireland, the story that is often told is that the beef we eat comes from animals who've been solely grass-fed. But in fact, almost all cattle are also fed a concentrated diet of barley, wheat, soy and other supplements during their lifetime. But one farmer here in the northwest is keeping it green, feeding his animals grass all year round.
Back in 2003, Clive Bright inherited his father's dairy farm here in County Sligo. But the last thing Clive wanted to do was to produce milk. So he decided to produce beef, but to do it in his own unique way.
Before he took over the farm, Clive studied textile design in Dublin's National College of Art and Design. But he and his wife Shelley always wanted to raise their two children, Teddy and Emily, on the family farm in Ardsala near Ballymote.
Clive, this is a lovely old yard here and a lovely old building behind us. This used to be a dairy farm, didn't it?
It was, yeah. About 15 years ago we got out of dairying because it just wasn't really profitable anymore at the scale we were at. We were just about 25 cows. And got into suckling with the aim of going organic. And took a while to figure out how to do that, and now we are organic suckling, so it's all good.
To grow good grass, you need healthy soil. As an organic farmer, Clive cannot use synthetic fertilisers on his land. Instead, he depends on producing top quality compost.
It's not quite there yet, but
it's full of life.
We'll get in there.
Oh, look at that, that's fabulous. Most organic farmers I know want to talk about this more than they want to talk about their animals.
Absolutely, yeah. We spend a lot of time making compost.
And I suppose this is the essence to your farm.
It is, yes, the kind of backbone to the fertility. We spend a lot of time working on it. We manage the piles, we monitor the temperatures, we look at the microbial activity in it, and we check the soil as well, make sure that the life has gone into the soil as well, so we check it all under the microscope. And spend a lot of time playing around with that.
Clive is certified with the Organic Trust. He carefully manages his 120-acre mixed farm and tightly controls how often his paddocks are grazed by his 70 cattle.
So you practice this thing called mob grazing. When we think of a mob, we think of tightly kept animals, and that's what you do here.
Yeah, they're reasonably tight. They're tight in order to get fresh grass every day. And we move them along in a pretty strict rotation.
And why is that good?
It's good for a lot of reasons, really, but mostly we're on a completely grass-based diet here, so the cows get fresh grass every day, and it needs to be pretty high quality. So leaving them in a field for a long time, the quality of the grass reduces all the time. So.
And on your farm, grass-fed means grass-fed. It means grass, 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 and no nuts, no concentrates, nothing.
No, 100% grass-fed.
It's hard, Clive, to see the fencing, but I can just about see the wire along here. You're keeping them tightly bunched together.
Yeah.
Do they like being bunched together that much?
They do, actually, because it kind of clicks in their innate herding instinct, and they keep quite close together, and it keeps them very calm, actually. And they know they get moved every day, so there's a pattern, and you have to be quite controlled and careful about that you make sure you move them around the same time every day so they don't get stressed out. I do get quite a long grazing season because I manage my grazing so well. So last year, for instance, I was housed for 4 months rather than 6, which would be kind of the norm for this part of the country.
And are you feeding them silage then?
Yeah, silage and hay, just silage and hay. And I also feed them seaweed minerals to kind of cover all bases, because when they're out like this, they get to forage around and pick different plants and stuff. But in the silage, they have whatever's in the silage. So we add the seaweed just to cover all nutrient possibilities.
Why do you not like feeding your animals nuts and concentrate food?
There's a couple of reasons. Economically is one, because organic grain is very expensive, and we're in the west of the country and there's no grain grown here, so all those things don't really work. But also, cows aren't really meant to eat grain, like they're designed to eat grass. Modern cows have been kind of selected for grain fattening, but I've kind of selected my cattle for having slightly larger guts to eat grass, and they metabolize that much better. So one of the big things about my own meat product is that there's a huge taste difference because of grass finishing.
The abattoir Clive uses to kill and butcher his animals is in Grange, just 20 miles away from his farm. He sells his meat direct to the public via his website, Rare Ruminare.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a million.
Clive moves his animals to different fields every day, and this daily contact between them means that he gets to know his animals well, and they're used to his presence too. Today, Clive is moving most of his herd down the road where there's fresh pasture. A key part of the way he farms is that he only keeps and breeds from animals who do well on year-round grass feeding.
Because we're grass finished and everything, we need a certain type of animal, and that animal isn't readily available. Kind of a medium-sized cow rather than a very big frame, one with good gut capacity to eat loads of grass, one that's very efficient on grass and just holds condition throughout the winter on silage and hay. So basically what I do is I run my system, and anything that doesn't suit it gets culled.
And you do that quite aggressively.
Yeah.
No nonsense.
No.
When it comes to a cow that doesn't convert grass into meat.
Exactly, yeah. Or if they have, if they're very susceptible to parasites, they get culled. If they don't calve on their own, they get culled. Yeah, anything that doesn't fit in the program. And then what that does then is you have this really consolidated herd that works in the system, and there's very little health issues and there's very little problems.
The way Clive farms here works well for him. His cattle certainly seem to be thriving.
And I can hear now the sound, really quite loud to my ears, of munching and crunching of the grass. Yeah. It's like a cat purring.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
They're very
it's
happy.
Really therapeutic sound. I love it. Yeah.